Hey everyone, it is Kai, and today we'll be talking about guarding in overdress and how that differs from the V series, because I guess one of the best things about the V series is that, you know, there was a lot of variety in shield values, right? Your 5Ks, 10Ks, 15Ks, and 20Ks, you even had your 30Ks, like Sentinels, which was interesting. But now, because of overdress just being very, it's a very simple game right now, you know, only one kind of set has been released, our shield values have less variety, right? We've only got 5Ks and 15Ks and Sentinels, and then, you know, we've got some cards that gain shield value when you have certain conditions, like the 10K slots or something like that. So, you know, overall, our shielding is a bit different when compared to V. So we're going to kind of go over it, talk about what are the big changes, what you should be aiming for, and what kind of new magic numbers have really appeared. Now, before we get into it, if you like the content, please subscribe and like it and smash that, I think, the notification button. I think like 50% of you guys who watch it, watch videos, aren't subscribed, so it'd be great if you do. Right, so let's just jump into it now. You can see here we've got kind of like a worksheet, right? This is like school. These numbers here basically are what you need, like the amount of shield you need to guard an attack, right? So a 5K would mean that maybe you're a 13K Vanguard, and he's attacking with a 15K, you know, attacker, so you need 5K to guard that, right? Or something like a 25K guard, right? So maybe you're on 10K, right? You're at grade 2, you're on 10K, your opponent swinging in 30K, or you know, 31 attacker, you need 25K to guard, right? So that's basically what it is, and we're gonna put in cards here to guard it. So it's like a worksheet, and it's gonna be like visually appealing, right? So let's start off with V. All right, V, we got these V cards here. Your Blaster Blade, he's a 5K shield. Your Crit Trigger, it's 15. And then, you know, Marin, he's 10K shield, grade 1. And then we got the 20K. These are all the basic ones. I haven't really included the Sentinels because they're like, you know, 4 per deck. But these are basically what you'll have a lot of, right? You even have Protect markers as well, man. Gifts, you know? So a lot of things were different. But okay, so we got 5K guard. Let's just throw a Blaster Blade down. Simple. 15K guards, you know, another simple thing. Let's go here. Boom. Right, easy. All right, Marin, well, let's just do the lane here. You know, 20K shield, nice, all good. And then Marin with a 10K, right? Grade 1s of 10K shield, man, beautiful, right? So we get to 25K shield. We have different ways we could do it. You know, let's get a Crit Trigger, you know, and then that's enough. And then we can get a Marin, right? So 15 plus 10, 25. Very nice. We can also do 20. This is the most efficient way to guard, by the way. All right, like technically, I could throw in 5 Blaster Blades, or I could throw in 5. Can't throw 5 Blaster Blades. I could throw 5 5K shields, and technically that would guard it, but that'd be very inefficient. We're looking at the more efficient ways of guarding. So, you know, 25K shield is still a two card guard, and then like a 30K shield, we still have options as well, right? So a lane plus a Marin. Very easy. And then we've got what? Double trigger works as well. So here we got 15 and 15. So that works, right? These are all the different ways we're shielding, right? 30, and that is basically V in a nutshell. And with V, because of its shield values, how we have like a 20K shield as well here, we can go even further, right? So like 35, we have a 20 and a 15, good. And then at the maximum for a 2-card guard, right, is two heals, so that's 40, and that's 2 20Ks. That's a good amount of cards to throw. After that, you're gonna be needing like what, 3 cards to guard, and that's where you start dropping the Sentinels for just like value guarding, right? So that's basically V in a nutshell. Now let's forget about V. You know, we're moving on to the new world. So let's get rid of all of these cards. Ooh, amazing. All right, let's get rid of them. Get rid of all of these. Let's move on to, let's just delete them, actually. Yeah, here we go. Sorry, boys. Your time is over. All right, so we're going to move on to D now. Okay, so D doesn't really have that much of selection. All right, we've got, let's move this long. All right, we got Reno and a heal trigger. All right, these are from the start decks. So this is 5K shield and a 15K shield. So let's do the easy stuff first, right? This is just a hidden brand gate one. But this is like what, 5K to guard? Easy. We're throwing like our grade 1s or 2s in overdress. 15K to guard. We're throwing just a trigger, right? So that's where the fun ends. That's where actually the fun ends, right? How do we guard the rest of these? Well, So to guard a 30k, the most efficient way is 2 triggers, right? So let's throw in 2 triggers here. And another one. Nice, nice, nice. All right, so 2 triggers, right? How do we guard a 20, right? 20 is actually still doable. We have a trigger and a 5k, right? So 20k shield. But what about 10 and 25s, right? 10 and 25s, we have to start throwing triggers again, right? So look, 15k shield, that is an overguard though. So if you're guarding 10s and 15s, that's kind of, you know, it's not the most efficient way of doing that. But then the other way to do it is 2 5s. And is that really that efficient? You know, I don't think so. I don't think this is efficient. It feels bad, right? So guarding a 10k now is really annoying, right? Let's talk about the 25s. The 25s as well. The only way to guard a 25 is you go like 2 15s, right? So it's this thing again. It's a 2-card guard. This is probably the most efficient way of guarding this at the moment, right? And that is still that is still overguarding, right? Remember, your triggers are very limited. You only have 16 of them in your deck, I hope. Now it's only 15 because one of them is the over trigger, and that is basically a super guard or an overguard. But you know, because of that, you know, when you overguard like this, you're gonna have when they're swinging with big attacks, you know, later on, it's gonna be hard to guard, right? It's gonna be hard to guard. And then what? The other way to do it is like a 15 and like 2 5s, which is kind of inefficient when you think about it, right? But let's just do it. So we got 2 5s. All right, bam. All right, 2 5s, 2 5s and a 15. That is how we do it here, right? This is pretty inefficient, right? Pretty inefficient. Now, there are ways to guard a 10, right? So some of like Brandgate, the prison deck does have this card that gets like 10k, and you can put it here. Whoa, only a 1-card card, so that's really nice. I think there's Brody as well from Dark States that if you like, when it comes to the Guardian Circle, you can counterblast 1 and it gets 5k shield, so that's another 10k shield, and that's kind of cool. But apart from that, right, when we look at the basic cards we can guard with, these are basically it. So right off the bat, you see 5, 15, 30. These are kind of significant numbers, or like even 20. These are kind of like nice breakpoints, but there's like weird like breakpoints in between them that are also new magic numbers, right? So let's look at the 10. 10, you require an overshield, or you need to overguard it, or you need 2 5k. So if you're making like a early game push, right, and you've got a bunch of 10k guards, your opponent might be thinking, okay, I have to commit 3 triggers to guard that, to guard all 3, which is kind of inefficient. I mean, of course, you're saving damage early on, so you can take the damage later on, right? But when we look at that through just pure numbers, that is an inefficient way to guard. The other way is to throw 6 cards down, which is just not correct, right? So they could be going, okay, maybe I'd want to take a damage, try and get a heal, and or get a trigger, and that negates all the 10k shields. Because like, if you get a trigger here, you negate all the attacks, which is perfect. But if you don't, you're gonna just start eating attacks and feel bad, right? So when we put on some earlier game aggression, or when we're trying to make numbers, 10k is like forcing 10k guards is a very, very good way to do it, right? Even like a 25k, it's less good, but it's okay. It's still a nice breakpoint. But like things like 15k shield, yeah, that's still, you know, you're still kind of aiming for that. The other one is the 20k shield, you know, because that's when you kind of turn from like, you know, just 1-card guard to 2-card guard. That's very good. And the 30k shield plus, right, after a 30k shield, you know, it becomes a 3-card guard, and that's when they start throwing the nulls, right? So making, I think that the takeaway from this is that making 10k shields, like forcing your opponent to drop 10k shields, is just really, really decent. It's one of the big changes, I think, in overdress. And you're gonna have times when, you know, you're sitting there on the receiving side of an like aggressive attack and going, why don't we have 10k guards in the game, right? Why don't we have that? I'm just getting beaten down. I don't want to waste my triggers. Maybe you don't have any triggers, right? If you don't have any triggers, then you're royally screwed. You have to throw 2 cards down early game. That's terrible. That's really bad. Another way to take from this also is that a Vanguard attack, right? So previously, if you made like a if you had like a 10k to 10k, for example, attack on Vanguard, you could easily just 15k guard it. And then if you pumped it up with like a booster, making like 18k to 10, right? They had to 20k guard to fully guard it. This is like early game, right? And then like when you had twin drives, it was like 2 to pass on a 13 to 13. But if you put like an 8k, it got really annoying. It became 20k shield. Now your 20k shields don't work. So boosting Vanguard columns suddenly becomes pretty decent. It's kind of like confirmed forcing damage. Your opponent has to throw 2 cards down to confirm the shielding, which is kind of good, right? That's another thing to consider for earlier game aggression. And that's something that you should probably incorporate in your plays, right? The takeaway from this is also that if you call down like a draw trigger or something that's only like a 5k shield, it can still change the course of the game, because what you boost your Vanguard, 13 plus 5, 18, can really kind of push numbers on a grade 2 game. You know, 10 plus 5 can push numbers as well, can push that 10k number. So, you know, calling down triggers is not exactly the worst thing that you could do, right? It's not exactly the worst thing. You know, sometimes you top deck something and you call a trigger, you can still use it, right? Bastion, Stoicheia, all do that, so it's not the end of the world. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, bye.